Okay, for this analysis, it's going to be one of our more complex analysis. We're going to use multiple tables, and you can get a good idea of, of what you can do with sales order analysis in the tables and why, this will just shed a light on why it's so much more quick to do it that way. So let's say we recently had our pricing procedure changed for a section of the business, okay? And we'd like to go in and we're having some pricing issues, or we even just want to verify that the pricing's looking okay on all these things. So I can go into the order and I can do some analysis on the order here, and I can go in then and go down and look at the pricing here and check things out. Looks okay, and I check this document, looks fine. So then I go on to the next one and keep on doing this, but I got to find the documents first that meet the requirements of this type of document, this segment of the business, and meets the dates, for the pricing adjustments as well. So I've got my pricing date here. So remember when we originally looked at the pricing date, if I pull this back up, it's going to be in table of VBKD, right? Yes, there it is, VBKD PRSDT versus my order we know is in table VBOK, and same thing, the order type's in VBOK. I might want to look at certain products or types of items, the item category. Now we know we're going back to table VBAP, and then we know all that pricing information is down in table KONV. So you can see where this is going to start getting pretty complex. I'm going to go back in and let's say you got to decide how you want to go about the analysis. Do you want to pull all documents and then look at the pricing? That may take a while. I know that in our case, I'm looking at a pricing change that was implemented, at the first of the year on a particular year or first of the month. I know that date range of when that pricing went in. So I may want to reduce that scope and say, well, everything's fine before, and I really need to review everything since. So I'm going to start off with a date range, meaning I don't necessarily care about when the order was created, but I care about when it was priced. That means I need to go and start off with table VBKD, get all the orders with those pricing dates. Then I can go back to the order tables and check and see if the orders within those pricing dates are orders that I care about, and then I can filter that order list down by order type and other criteria. Then I might even be able to go down to the line item, since pricing's at the line item level, and filter all those down even further to certain items that I want to look at. And then I can come back, do some more application analysis, or I can even take all those orders and or items and get the condition information and then go down and look at table KONV with that information. Okay, so let's go ahead and run through that. I'm going to jump over here to table of VBAKD, and there you can see I don't really want to run this wide open. I'm just going to search on price, basically, right? And there's price group comes up. So I'll click on the next. Price list comes up. Pricing date, there we go. That's the one I'm looking for. So let's say in our scenario, we want to go back and check everything for 2011. Was when this pricing change went in. We may have some cleanup to do from that, so it's been a while since that date. But I'm going to go ahead and run that out. Okay, and there we can see, okay, 550 orders. This is a small data set. Normally in your system, I think you'll find this will be a ton of orders. So now pricing occurs at the line item level here, but I really just want to capture those orders. So I'm going to filter out and only pick up where it's blank. So I'm just going to get the order number out of this. Okay. Now I've got my orders, I've got that pricing date, and I've got all this business data here too that I can use for my analysis. I can look at my payment terms, exchange rates, various things that might have affected the pricing, and I can scroll through here. But now it's not necessarily this whole list. I know that I'm really only caring in my scenario about standard orders, order type OR. okay, and that's in table VBAK. So now I got to get back to VBAK and get that list too. So we'll open up a window here. And we'll run table VBAK. I'm going to remove that. Okay. Now I don't have pricing data over here, but I do have document type OR. And then I can come back here and set a filter on the sales document type. And I'm going to do my little spacebar trick. Otherwise, you could just pull this down to a list or Excel, and then same thing, just copy the list and go get it. Okay. And I'll go put in my list here now. Great. And run that. I've got my 389 orders, okay? That are ORs that were within that pricing date range. I'm starting to get a better picture as I go through a lot of this data, seeing, who created it, when it was created, how much the amounts were. I can see things like the sales area. Are they all within one sales area or not? Starting to get a picture of what kind of changes went in, okay? Now I know also that the pricing procedure that I'm looking for is our standard pricing procedure. That was the one that was changed in that time frame. So I'll go look for procedure, and there we go. I'm going to enter that in there. You see how you refine your selections here. I could have filtered it on the other page, but I want to trim it down as much as I can. I'm down to 202 documents. Okay, so you keep on going through this process of looking for the fields that you want to filter down to or find where your changes were. Once you're there now, I want to do some analysis, and I think, because it's going to be fairly complex, and I'm going to have to go look at conv, K1V for pricing. I might want to look at certain items at a VBAP, and I may need to go share this with some other groups in our organization. I'm going to kick this out to Excel so I can save it. I don't have to run this every single time I want to show somebody. So again, we'll export this to Spreadsheet, and I'm going to go ahead and export both VBAKD, okay, and VBOK to Spreadsheet. Now, once you get that done, okay, it's basically going to look like this, right, where I'm going to have a VBAK spreadsheet, and then I'm going to go just copy my VBKD spreadsheet and put them in the same document. And then I can have a summary page here where maybe I'm doing VLOOKUPs across the two or pivot tables or whatever, and just to kind of merge it into one summary of what I want to see, okay? And then you can start to build this report manually here, very custom, without having to do any development or go to a other type of business tool. Then I may want to do the same thing. Let's say I could go pull all the convs, right? Because now within here, I've got my information on my condition type, right? Or my condition information. So now I can go to conv and use the condition number and pull it. Or I can just, if we want to do spot checking, we can just do them one at a time. So I go over here to KONV, like we talked about earlier, and the condition, then I can put that in, and there, wham, we've got instant access to all that pricing information, okay? Right here on one screen, I can see the condition types, I can see all the information about them, and the information that was ran on the order, so I get a good picture if the order priced like I thought it should have. And then you see the real power on this too then is I can do some new entries here, go back to my spreadsheet. Let's say we do some sorting, filtering, I pick out a few that you end up with that you want to investigate here. run those out, and now you're basically looking across all the pricing across a whole bunch of documents all at once without having to go to each of those documents. You know how you can go in, do a report, find the document, and then drill down to the pricing. You can do it all, right here, and I can look at certain condition types. Maybe, I know that my condition type was whatever, and I can filter out everything else. So I really get down to, kind of the root problem, and I can look at the amount that it was based off of, all that detail information that you do online. You can just do much quicker this way, okay? And I can keep on building the spreadsheet out, adding that data in until you really finesse it until you get a final product to share for analysis. And a lot of that times that can be used for troubleshooting. You can use it for project preparation, data, planning for testing, etc. All kinds of ways to do it. But that's fine. And this is kind of, I'd say, on the high end of the analysis, you're starting to get to a point where this can be time consuming, take a while. So if you have other tools that can do the same thing, and you really get into those type of things, if they're available in your organization, that's a good way to go. Now also, I kind of want to use this exercise as a transition into our next section, where I'm going to show you some advanced ways that you can go about getting the same data, and we're really talking about query when we do this, or some query tools if you have access. And you'll see that you can do it this way, and then if you have that ability to use the query, you can do it that way as well, and it'll just be that much quicker. We'll get to the same type of result, okay? But now for this exercise, really get comfortable, go in, try and do some data analysis using different tables, use all the skills that we went through before, using the sales order as reference, using your data model as reference too, to get all those tables and fields. Look at the relationships, and then when you know those relationships and the check fields and the keys and how they tie together, then when you get down to data analysis, you can really look between the two or more tables and see how you want to do your VLOOKUPs, or how you want to do your pivots, and how you want to bring that analysis together. And you'll surprise yourself how much analysis you can get done very, very, very quickly.